With all the antics Billy Joe Saunders is pulling off, I'm not really paying too much attention. I know it's fight week. I know Canelo is focused on the fight, as well as Billy Joe Saunders. And there's no question about that. All these antics that Billy Joe Saunders is pulling off are just that. And I think they're ultimately just publicity stunts. If he does, for whatever reason, opt to pull out of the fight, he's pretty much going to be the laughing stock of boxing, and I'm pretty confident that he's not willing to derail his career and ruin it just because he wants to pull out and pull a fast one on Canelo and his team, especially with how far we are along in this fight. I mean, it's fight week. It's going to happen in a few days. So I want to move on about that. I don't really want to dabble too much into it because at the end of the day, I think it's going to happen, and I think it's going to be a good fight. I mean, there was a dispute about the ring size recently, and I think that is very telling. I think both fighters in that argument were able to allow us to gather a little bit of information of what their fight plan seems to be. Canelo wanted the smaller ring size, Billy Joe Saunders wanted the bigger one, and that just goes to tell what their game plan seems to be formulated around. One of the guy wants to stick and move, being Billy Joe Saunders, which is something that he's known for, he being a slick southpaw. And Canelo, on the other hand, is going to try to cut the ring off, cut the exits out, and maybe put him away if he's given the opportunity. But here's the thing, a lot of people are signing Billy Joe off. They're not thinking that he's going to be much of a problem for Canelo. They say he's another Euro stiff, their words, not mine. But here's the thing, he's not. Billy Joe Saunders, whether you like him or not, whether you care for his antics or not, is a pretty good fighter. Yeah, granted, he hasn't really fought anybody, and his resume is a little lackluster, especially at 168. But that doesn't take away from his boxing ability, especially if he's given the room to breathe and the space to use his lateral movement, to use his footwork, and dart in and out during the course of the fight, during the course of the rounds. And I think this fight's going to be a lot closer than people are led to believe. I don't think Billy Joe Saunders is going to show up just to get knocked out. I think it's far from that. And whether there's legitimate animosity there or not from Saunders' camp towards Canelo, I think Canelo is legitimately a little bit upset towards Billy Joe Saunders and is going to look to do some damage in the fight. Is he going to be able to do so? That's a good question, though. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think there's levels to the sport, but Canelo has always had a hard time with fighters that are able to use their foot speed or footwork, and he is rather flat-footed inside the ring. Sure, it seems like he has learned how to cut the ring off, but doesn't mean he is not susceptible to being down on the cards. And he's struggled with that type of style in the past. He struggled with the Erislandy Lara, he struggled with the pure boxers, and it's definitely going to be an interesting fight. I think if anything, Canelo's going to try to go for the knockout, corner him, try to slow him down in the early rounds, go to the body, and going to bank on a late stoppage. I think on the other hand, obviously Billy Joe Saunders is going to look to utilize his lateral movements, his foot speed, and try to dart in and out. I think if anything, it's going to be a close competitive fight, and it's going to be a close competitive decision. I don't see this fight being a blowout. I honestly don't. I think that Canelo's going to be looking to set up his uppercuts on the inside and his hooks to the body, and then he's going to be able to switch up that hook to the body and hit him upstairs in the later rounds. And that's because he's very dedicated to his feints. He has a very good feint arsenal, and he's going to be able to set Billy Joe Saunders up. But here's the thing, his effectiveness is going to be reflective of how good he is at cutting the ring. Has he truly mastered that? Has he truly figured out how to cut the ring off? Has he truly resolved his stamina issue? Because at one point, a lot of people questioned that. And if he's not able to cut the ring off and shorten Billy Joe Saunders' escape routes, then he's gonna have a really hard time. He could potentially be outboxed. But then again, if Canelo shows up and he has truly mastered the art of cutting the ring off, it seems like he's learned how to pressure as well. And if that's the case, then this fight went from being a daunting task to a much lighter night of work for Saul Canelo and his team. Anyway, guys, I'm favoring Canelo Alvarez in a close decision win over Billy Joe Saunders and potentially a late stoppage. But nevertheless, I'm excited to see this fight happen. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. And like always, don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel. This is Shay at LAKEY Boxing, signing out.